According to domesticviolencestatistics.org, every 9 seconds in the U.S., a woman is assaulted or beaten. Something to think about, isn't it? Hi, I'm Alan Edwards, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that is very passionate to me: domestic violence. Domestic violence is, well, next to child abuse, is something that makes me very sad. That I have to live in a world where those two words are actually formed together. That we live on a continent and a population that we have, with the population that we have, of all different races. And every 9 seconds, a woman in the U.S. is assaulted or beaten. And that's just the half of it. More domestic violence statistics show that not just in the U.S., but around the world, at least 1 in every 3 women has been beaten, coerced into sex, or otherwise abused in her lifetime. And most often the abuser is a member of their own family. And that is it's definitely something to think about. I have personally never been affected by domestic violence, but I know some who have. And I can assure you of one thing. It is not like a broken leg, which heals over time. Someone that has been abused, whether as a child or as an adult, it stays with them until they die. See, domestic violence is something of a disease. Although race has nothing to do with it, it does have a cure. As anything in life, we must first admit the problem and then seek help. Most women who are abused end up staying for the fear of being killed if they leave. But a study showed that every day in the U.S., 3 women are killed by their husbands or boyfriend. Is this because they have tried to leave? Or is it because they stayed? There are shelters all over the world for these women to escape to. And the abuser gets nothing but a sentence to jail or prison. To think about why he's there. Sure, it can be a form of rehabilitation, but it isn't. Because these men sit there in their cells and blame their misfortunes on the women in their lives, the ones that put them there, so that when they get out, they can make them pay for it in the end. But the problem is, as shown in that between 55% and 95% of all women who had been physically abused by their partners have never contacted a non-governmental agency, shelters, or the police. They just took it. Why? See, it is true that we live in a cynical world with all types of people. Where does this abuse begin? Researchers show that men who as children witnessed their parents' domestic violence were twice as likely to abuse their own wives than the sons and the non-violent parents. Also, did you know that 1 in 5 teenage girls who have been in a relationship said a boyfriend threatened violence or self-harm if they broke up with him? We see what we see, and we do what we see them do. Never think a kid does not know what's going on, because they do. Because according to Janice Center's blog, Makers of Memories, they talk about domestic violence as being a complicated or uncomfortable issue and is very seldom spoken public. I counter with that with why not? If more people talked about it, then together we can put a stop to it. Some of the statistics they share on how domestic violence impacts kids, this one bothers me the most. Out of all of them, this one just, it blows my mind. 3.3 million children witness domestic violence each year in the U.S. So what is the solution? They have shelters for the women or the ones being abused. If they aren't scared to go, that is. But what do they have for the ones that are doing it? Jail? Prison? Children come from homes characterized by domestic violence are 5 to 7 times more likely to experience psychological problems relative to the children in general populations. Now, what that tells me is we need to send these people to mental wards, place them on tranquilizers, and keep them there until they forget what they have done. Domestic violence, as the statistics show, it is everywhere. If it is not in your home, then it is happening 3 doors down.